Okay, market segmentation is a separate subject from market penetration and market share. And there's other videos on those two subjects. Market segmentation is what companies do when they look at their markets and they split their markets into pieces. And they're basically breaking down their market into segments or chunks and analyzing those segments or chunks separately. The reason being that the segments are characterized by key differences, and in this case we'll refer to those things as variables, about either the products, how the products are used, pricing, geography. There's a bunch of those variables. And they're different for every business, which makes this sort of a complex and exercise and a constant exercise that companies will go through. But really you're trying to figure out what drives sales in those areas, and if those variables are very different, then maybe you should be segmenting your audience and looking at your market in these segments in order to diagnose problems, in order to try to improve sales, and also in order to develop and deliver the best products. So it's important that changing the variables is what you do to improve your sales. So once you isolate your segments and once you decide on the variables that are important for your business, it allows you to diagnose problems or make changes and test those changes and therefore improve sales. So almost all companies go through some sort of market segmentation. They look at their market and they break it into pieces. And let's talk about sort of how that happens. So what I've written out here is we've been looking at flat panel TVs in some of these examples. So I'm going to look at segment number 1 and segment number 2 for the flat panel television market. You might think, well, are there market segments in this case? But yeah, let's look at homeowners as one segment. How they might use flat panel televisions. And then we'll look at U.S. businesses as another segment. They have separate use cases for flat panel televisions. This is a super simple example. I'm sure these companies have broken down their markets into much more complex segments based on what size of television they watch and where they are in the country and what they use it for. Those are the variables, by the way. But in this case, to keep it simple, we'll say, I'm a flat panel TV maker. I'm going to talk about homeowners and U.S. businesses. So here are some of the variables I'm going to look at. How do I segment them? Well, I can do it by size or geography or product use or the value proposition or the total cost of ownership. You're going to have to decide what's appropriate for your business when you do this. But essentially, we've got 200 million homeowners and 100 million business owners. Those are just guesses. But each of them could be broken down by region. This is a personal product use case. This I'm going to hang it up in my company and do marketing for my company. What's the value proposition? Well, I'm trying to get family time at home by watching TV. I'm trying to drive sales in my business, so different value propositions. Total cost of ownership. The only thing at home I have to buy is the TV. At work, I might have to buy the TV and a computer to run my marketing programs on my flat panel. So you'll notice there are just different characteristics of these markets that really force me to segment them and split them into pieces. Normally, people are segmenting by size, geography, or product use. They're saying, I've got big customers and small customers. I've got customers in the East and customers in the West. I've got customers that use my tiniest flat panel or my largest flat panel. So there's no right way to do this, but you should pretty obviously see the segments that emerge in your own business. And then you've got these other variables that you can change about your product floating around out there to potentially improve sales. So you've got, you can change the pricing. You can make it cheaper for homeowners than businesses because their businesses aren't as price sensitive. You are going to talk about return on investment differently. In a homeowner, you're going to talk about, look at all this great family time we create. In a business, you're going to say, a great tool for marketing and sales. You're going to use different payment plans. Maybe homeowners are a little more strapped, so you have them pay over time, whereas businesses have to pay up front. Or you could change product types. You can say, well, we've got these specific TVs that are built for movies. We've got another TV that specifically has a hookup for a computer so that you can run PowerPoint slides. So really, segmentation is a process of deciding on what your segments are by certain variables and then using other variables and changing those variables to try to improve sales. Over here we've got, remember, this is the model of market penetration. 60% of the people have bought a TV, 40% haven't. Market share, Vizio, Toshiba, Sony, my company, Hoff TV, I own 44% of the market. And then my segments would be in here. This would be business and this would be personal. So if this is personal and this is business, these are my market segments. Market segments, I may have different segments than my competitor, but my market segments are what I'm going to use to drive this variable equation to try to improve sales. So a very good exercise for companies to go through is market segmentation. Look at your segments of markets, what characterizes those segments, and then start playing with variables that may drive sales faster in those segments.